Alright, guys, welcome back. And we have to talk about the US economy today and why we are in the danger zone. Now, this is a combination of Wall Street gambling, the technology war with China, and Trump trying to retain hegemony for the US. There are many industrial sectors that are wastelands in the US. The shipping industry is gone. They are way behind in the EV game, and clean technology are years behind China. And that's why Trump is doubling down or tripling down on AI. And this goes way beyond just making more money. It's about geopolitics and it's about staying on top of the hill. Now, this is straight from the US AI Action Plan. The United States must also drive adoption of American AI systems, computing hardware, and standards throughout the world. There are two key objectives here: to export American AI to allies and partners, plus to counter Chinese influence globally, to basically bury the threat of Chinese AI models like DeepSeek. So Trump is creating an enormous hype train on AI and he's attracting a ton of investment. We have Project Stargate that will infuse $500 billion into AI infrastructure. Now, big banks are saying that it's AI that's keeping the US economy out of recession, and we kind of agree. According to Bank of America, AI investment itself added 1.5% to the entire US GDP. All the companies building out data centers, computer equipment, and software, they are keeping the US economy afloat. That is extreme dependence on one single sector. It's a big bet by Trump that the US will win the tech race. It's why we have every other sector of the government working together. The US Treasury is borrowing endless amounts of money for subsidies. Tariffs are channeling money from consumers all the way to Trump for him to use. And the chip sanctions on China also plays the same purpose. And because of this environment, we have all the big tech companies in the US eager to pump more money into AI tech funding. And the scale is simply breathtaking and is fueling an incredible AI bubble. Meta, Google, Amazon, and Microsoft will be spending like drunken sailors, more than $330 billion in AI capex spending this year, and next year, well over $400 billion. This is a boatload of money. It's a huge bet that AI demand in the US and globally will skyrocket. It's the field of dreams concept. Build it and they will come. But the level of risk today is simply extreme. It's important to compare this to history. We had multiple bubbles in the past pop, and in hindsight, everyone saw it coming. And because of the AI investment and the hype surrounding it, US stocks are at extreme valuations today. It's not even funny anymore. USP multiples are at record highs, well above the 90th percentiles. We are at 21.4 today. Outside the US, it's only around 15.2. And you compare that to China, Chinese stocks are cheap at just 13.9. Valuations today are out of whack, and the music needs to keep playing or things will just get nasty. It's why Trump was hopping mad with Chinese rare earth curbs. Everything today in the US revolves around one key company. And what do you need to build all these data centers? Well, you need AI chips. The one company driving this is Nvidia. China cutting away rare earths hammers US chip production. Trump wants TSMC to reshore their factories to the US to create a domestic semiconductor ecosystem. And if that breaks, the AI bubble could implode on itself. Remember the huge investments by Oracle and OpenAI? It's one big cash cycling operation across key companies with Nvidia in the middle. Now, the narrative is simple. We have to build data centers to fuel AI growth at all costs. That's disregarding many tech companies losing money in the process. So we are seeing investment announcements inflating the bubble. It's musical chairs while the market caps of Nvidia, AMD, and Oracle, they are growing bigger and bigger. But have overall revenue and profits increased at the same time? The entire US economy is extremely fragile. It's no longer the economy that controls the stock market, but the other way around. Now, think back to what triggered the collapse in 2000 and 2008. It was the dot-com bubble popping for the former, and for the latter, it was the Lehman collapse that triggered the entire US stock meltdown. Those sent the US economy into official contraction for many quarters and many years to come. According to Apollo, the ground is shakier than ever before. The top 10 companies in the S&P, which are mainly tech, are more overvalued today, worse than in the 1990s. Forward PEs during 2000 were at 25. We are hovering above 27 as we speak. It's probably higher today considering the big moves over the last week. Now, we have to be clear, this is not sustainable until a few things happen. Revenue and profits have to catch up with this incredible valuation. Because something has to give, the capex spending will come to a head. Research from Yale tells us the numbers are just unworkable. Unless a miracle happens, this bubble would likely pop and a lot of money will be lost in the process. When you invest money into a project, it has to be sustainable. But US tech is betting everything on black on the roulette table. Now, sounds fun, but the math just doesn't add up. OpenAI will invest 300 billion in computing power with Oracle over the next 5 years. That's $60 billion a year, and the company is already losing billions annually. Expected revenue for OpenAI this year will reach 13 billion. There's still a $47 billion shortfall to fill. Imagine this situation for the next 4 years as well. It's all about the hype now. Shares of Oracle soared by 40%, adding $300 billion to its market cap. Do you know how insane that is? Everything must go right for the AI tech race to prevent an implosion. We are talking about a royal flush at a poker table where everyone else has to lose. And this means for the US to win, China has to lose the tech race as well. Chinese AI has to fail for enough global demand for US products and solutions. How else can there be enough demand to justify these ridiculous valuations? It also means the US needs to revive their power grid build-out. US data center power demand is around 170 terawatt hours today. By 2035, this number will grow to 430 terawatt hours. So the US has to more than double their power generation capacity for the AI boom alone in 10 years. But everything in the US is more expensive thanks to a tariff war. Everything from the steel to the copper wiring is now 30 to 40% more expensive. So either enormous amounts of deficit spending has to happen or this attempt will just crash and burn. You simply can't square this circle. And that's why the AI bubble is just so terrifying. Industrially, it doesn't make sense. There are real world limitations here. Financially, there's a big contagion risk as well. Wall Street could take a nasty tumble should the AI bubble burst. And I'm not just talking about share prices collapsing, we are talking about big loans going bad. Meta is building a data center in Louisiana and they want to build it to the size of Manhattan. That's just crazy. And to fund this project, they are borrowing $26 billion from lenders. Vantage is also borrowing $22 billion from big US banks, including JP Morgan. So Wall Street giants are now caught in the middle of this AI mess. We are in one massive bubble with multiple dominoes surrounding it. The AI bubble popping would involve banks taking massive losses from their loans. Loans going bad would be a credit contraction. Then we'll truly have what we call a liquidity crisis. Now, I'm not saying that the bubble will pop tomorrow, but we have lost touch with reality here. Trump is making one gigantic bet on AI and he can't afford it to fail. We have massive contagion effects circling the AI bubble. And that's why the US cannot afford to lose the tech race to China. Whoever can create affordable AI will export it to the world. And Beijing is catching up to the US extremely fast.
China has some of the best entrepreneurs in the world because they came from some of the best STEM schools in the world. We're up against a formidable, innovative, hungry, fast-moving, under-regulated. Okay, people don't realize this. They are very lightly regulated. Some of the things I heard, they could never build AI chips. That just sounded insane. Two, that China can't manufacture. China can't manufacture? If there's one thing they could do is manufacture. Three, they're years behind us. Is it 2 years, 3 years? Come on, they're nanoseconds behind us.
The US faces an enormous challenge from China. Chinese power build-out is cheaper and faster. So if it comes down to the cost of AI, the US can't win this fight. There's definitely more capital in the US, but remember the source. Those are from debt and deficits, so it is not sustainable forever. Besides the tangible advantages, China is also innovative. They will find workarounds against US sanctions and their current limitations. Now, this update is important. Chinese tech giants are figuring ways to win at AI by working smarter. There isn't a need for them to just use brute force computing power. Alibaba is slashing away Nvidia GPU use by 82%. Their new pooling system allows them to power large language models at a fraction of the cost. In other words, they are achieving more with less. Meanwhile, the US is destroying a ton of capital to stay ahead. $500 billion being burned to stay a few steps ahead of the Chinese. How sustainable is that? China has banned Nvidia's chips coming in, so Chinese chip revenue is cut away to the US. At least $50 billion a year is inaccessible, which means companies like Huawei will get all the money, all the funding they need for R&D. Going forward, China is going to fire on all cylinders as well. The central government is merging both their technology sector together with their industrial sector. It's about creating a self-sustaining loop for AI supply and demand. And this is something that the US can't replicate because there isn't a proper industrial base here. It's just not there. China's top agenda revolves around modernizing their industrial systems, and the way forward is through AI technology. Beijing is also moving towards complete tech self-reliance, so we can expect everything to be developed in-house. If we read between the lines, China is doubling down hard on AI tech as well. All of their challenges, whether it's jobs, GDP growth, or income, will be solved by investing in technology. It's all or nothing for China as well. And that's why the AI battle is an existential one, especially for the US. Things just can't go wrong, or an implosion is really likely. The stock market dropping is a big threat. The bubble popping will almost guarantee that. But the bigger problem is the US economy itself, finding new areas of growth. This chart is especially disturbing. It shows us that the US is out of ideas. In 2023, tech spending contributed less than 0.2% to US GDP growth. But in Q2 this year, it's around 1.5%, 7 times more. Which means if we shave that away, US GDP growth is actually closer to 1% than anything else. This is why US economic policy is now intertwined with US foreign policy, especially towards China. It's why Trump wants the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates as well. He wants the endless borrowing and spending by US tech giants to continue. More money has to flood into building out all these fantastic data centers. The music simply cannot afford to stop. The US economy, which is already hyper financialized, is sitting on this hype bubble. If it pops, it could make 2008 look like a cakewalk and would severely weaken US hegemony as well. But as always, let me know what you think. Will the US technology bubble pop, and can Trump forever stay one step ahead of China? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe as we navigate through this economic Armageddon.